covered today, and we've got Michelle here that wants to share something with us as well, so we want to make sure we do this. Good. Let's start like we always do. Y4C2Ts. Tell me something good about yourself, about somebody else, about the market, about life. What's going on? Not all at once. Come on. Give me something good. I know there's good things happening. Becky, tell me something good.
I had a closing.
Hey! Straight from there. I knew that. Good.
I was chasing this lady in my community for her listing. She did a FISBO and she couldn't sell it. So I got an appointment on Sunday. 1.5 hours, went over all the comps, went over all the data with her. So she was impressed. So she's going to get back to me and I'm hoping that I get that listing.
Okay, there you go. You got it. Positive mindset, put it out there in the universe.
But also, it's a marathon for him. He's been courting this person for a while,
Yep.
and he's not giving up. It's
a process,
yeah.
right?
Courting.
He has been. He's at her for dinner. He's doing all the things.
He did, in fact.
You know, building rapport.
That's
It's
talking.
So, yeah, that's good. I mean, you have to show her the value, right? Obviously, she didn't see it, and that's why she tried to do it, for sale by owner. You got it. She'll come around. What?
Great job.
Good. All right. Hey, Jen.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
Good. Let's keep on pushing. Thanks. So we've got Michael Mayer still going on. Hopefully everyone's, participating in that. I know we've kind of fallen off as far as in here, but when I go on, I see there's plenty of us on there. We've got good representation on Zoom. I'll typically reach out to people when I see you participating and kind of engaged in conversation, so thank you for that. Again, if you're not terribly familiar with what's going on and you've not had an opportunity to jump on, I still would. It's all about building a database. Building a database that's going to work for you through holding client events and getting those referrals. The quality referrals, organically building leads for you. Okay?
I wish I could have like a smidge of his energy.
Mike, he's a great
Oh
guy.
my God.
And I like how he always says he's never funny. I think the guy's hilarious.
I think it's real funny.
Well, it's dry, but it's fine.
Only smart people get it.
The other thing, Karen, I don't know if you noticed, I did because I'm a former, he's constantly one after another with the Bang energy drinks too.
Oh, I'm not paying, I didn't know.
So
Is he? Okay.
that will help.
Okay.
Yep. All right. How about it? Okay, good. We've got family reunion coming up. It's right around the corner, end of February. Anyone in here registered? All right. All right. We got a few. Good. Exciting. Good. Let's keep it going. If you're still thinking about it, hanging on the fence, I don't know what prices are up to right now, but I do know that as we get closer to the event, they will go up. There will be some discounted tickets available. So people will always sell them. Make sure it is legit. If you're concerned, ask first and let's dig into it. There have been some known scams here and there, so sometimes it is due to the truth. What's up, Jeff?
$1,099.
$1,099.
That's the price right now.
And we started at $8 or $8.99. Is that right?
Yeah.
It will go up to $12.99.
Okay.
Before,
That's the cap.
before Family Reunion launches, the week of Family Reunion will be at $12.99. Most of the hotels that are partnered with KWRI are already sold out.
Yeah. That would probably be the bigger challenge. They started selling out real early, like right when tickets went on sale.
Is the agenda set now? I felt like I kept looking and there was.
Yes, and.
I think they just keep adding, right?
Heavy on the and.
Accent.
They will typically move the breakouts like the days before Family Reunion. The main points like social media con, the AI presentation, CEO summit, Jay Shetty, inspirational morning is now in the middle instead of at the end.
It's on Tuesday, right? Yeah.
Oh, good.
All of that is set, but some of those more minute breakouts will not be. For those of you who are going, we will have a family reunion prep session for everybody with packets for you with the current list of the available breakouts and dates and times, and yet the KW app, the Command app, will have that family reunion schedule in there. So do always check even morning of to see if your breakout has moved, time, or location.
Yeah. And like you said, we will talk about that at a further meeting, but if you've not gone in there, take a look at the Command app. It does have the FR26 tab in the bottom right now that you can go to, and it has all the information, so you can kind of take a look at it and start somewhat planning. And great lineup. We've got Jay Shetty, Gary Vee, Ryan Leak. Ryan Leak's always a favorite, so I'm really excited about our lineup this year. Let's roll. Okay. Ooh, see if I can see that one. So when you look at our lore, or as you called it, the green and pink, I see a lot of green there for our market center. Green is an indication of good. Okay, so it's showing that we're up. Mostly month over month, we do show some increases for year over year. But I mean, taking a look at that, does any of this resonate with you? Because if we're seeing it as a market center, you should probably see it in at least some of your businesses as well. You know, looking at closed units, we were up for the month, not year over year, but 23.6% month over month in a month of December, when what happens? Nobody transacts in December, isn't that what they say? So don't always listen, right? Had a great month, volume was up, units were up, and then taking a look at listings sold up minimally for the month over month, but looking at 12%, 13% for year over year. Those are things to celebrate. So hopefully those are things that you're seeing within your business as well, and looking even more forward to 2026 this year. Okay?
Do you all know, has anyone ever not seen this? I know we have some new agents in the room. This is the language of real estate, so numbers are given to you so that you can properly explain those numbers to your buyers and sellers who will have questions about the market. So this is something that you will see every month. This will show you KWRI, so all of the Keller Williams offices in the United States, as well as our region, which is about 32 offices from here down, primarily in Southeast Florida and the Naples area, and then our market center on the end. So it's always a good idea to compare what's happening here to the region to the country, because we are not slowing down here in the Tampa area as much as, let's say, Miami is, or the middle of Indiana is. So our market is not as slow as people say it is. So when people are listening to the news, they're not getting the full picture. So you have access to these numbers. We give them to you monthly with the Market Center, and you have Chartmaster in the Ubaldini Content Library as well.
All valuable tools to share when you're working with clients as well. Okay, that's going to take us into Michelle, but she disappeared on us.
Michelle!
She had to tittle.
Oh, thanks for sharing that personal information.
Just for the record, this is being recorded.
Perfect. What else can I
Everybody,
say?
oh.
There she is. All right.
I'm in the potty all the time.
I warmed him up for it.
I figured I could count on you, Mike.
All right, Michelle, welcome. Let's see what we got.
All right. I wanted to come here and talk to you. I know that it's been a couple of weeks, but we do have new forms coming out. I just want to let you guys know that myself and the transaction protection team are working really hard to go through our compliance and our documents and our forms, and we want to make sure. My question is always, is this still relevant? Why do we do this? Is this a risk or a control thing? And if it's control, we're letting it go. If it's risk, we got to keep it there. So just know that we're doing this with all of the forms. So the first one that I've had my eye on for years was that listing agreement. And so that's the one I'm going to talk to you about today. Can you make it a little
So I was
bigger?
just saying, can we zoom in on that now?
I got the old eyes.
I can do that.
Okay, that's perfect. So I just want to go over a couple of the things. How many of you have already used it? No, okay. Right, so it's brand new. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is there's been a lot of eyes on this. If there's something that you see that you think tweak it or what, I'll take all the suggestions. But we're human and sometimes we miss things. The biggest feedback I'm getting right now is not that agents seem to love this. That's great. It's the mapping, right? We still get mapping issues sometimes with DocuSign. You'll type something in and it'll populate somewhere else. If that's happening if you have that experience with any of the forms, please let compliance know immediately, because they're the ones that have to fix that with DocuSign, and we don't want you frustrated. So don't assume that it's something we know. We try to report things as we get them. So if there's a mapping issue you're having, just let Ari know at Transaction Protection Compliance Alliance, whatever the hell they call themselves these days. All right, so, sorry, y'all. This is me.
Hey, let's go.
Unfiltered. Okay, so if you notice, the thing that I'm most proud of is line 8. There's no more commission number there, right? We always had a problem with line 8028, that's gone, we're not putting it there. So the top is pretty much similar, we still have the brokerage name, agent of record, that's you, the address, the business phone, seller's name, property address. When you see things like this now, property, termination date, that's added from our attorneys. We want to make sure the form has defined definitions. One of the things we wanted to do was put this more in line with the FAR listing agreement. One, so that it flows better, and two, so that when we get producing agents from other companies coming to us, they don't have a heart attack because we have a whole different form, right? It's going to look very similar to what they're used to. So now we still have listing period, effective date, expiration date, right? We're calling it termination because that's what it's called on the actual listing withdrawal and termination for it, right? The word is termination. We're identifying it as what it's called. Sales price, and then it says upon termination, blank day protection period. If left blank, 180. We put that there as an option for you to now put how many days you want as your protection period, because that was one of the things that we would get pushed back from some clients and customers saying, why can't it be 60 days? Why can't it be 30? And agents saying, can I change this? Yes, that's in your control. You put your protection period, but if it's left blank, we're going to assume it's 180 days. We have 2 lines for listing description. If it's not long enough, now we can add the attachment. There is an attachment
Legal
in.
description?
Huh?
Legal description?
Legal description,
listing,
because
got it.
sometimes it's too long, right, the legal description. If it is, you just check that box, see attachment, and there is an addenda in DocuSign called Appendix A. Appendix A can be used for an extra long listing description. And this way it already pre-fills in the address for you, and you can just put there, see attachment Appendix A, if you want to call it that. So we did that there. The first paragraph, just the same as the last time, it's still an exclusive listing, so that hasn't changed. Now we go into broker obligations. We're going to sell a house, pretty much is the broker obligation. And then we're going to go right into MLS. Now we're explaining to the seller, we have to follow MLS rules. MLS rules dictate some things, and you may have to fill out some forms so that we can comply with MLS. So we're putting the onus on that, right? We're telling them we have to follow MLS rules. So that paragraph's new. Paragraph 4, broker authority. This is giving the seller giving the broker the authority to put things like a sign up. So A says market the property in the MLS. You're going to check one of those things, right? That matches your MLS options form. So it's going to mirror match that. And then check if applicable, use a lockbox system. Remember the old listing had like 2 paragraphs of lockbox? Yeah, we don't need all that crap, so it's down to 1 paragraph lockbox. Place for sale sign, including contract pending, close, like all of those signs being allowed to put it on the property. Advertise on the internet. And then we go to, what is that, E? C, D, E, I can't see. Okay, advertise on the internet, and then this doesn't help at all.
45. Yeah.
Line 45, we still have the seller requires offers in the presence of the buyer's agent or doesn't. Fun fact, that's an MLS requirement to have that in writing, so that's why it's in our listing agreement. We still have to initial the bottom. Next page. Now we get to seller's obligations. The same as what they were before, right? They're going to give us access to the property, that we might have more obligations with the MLS. They're going to provide us keys to the property. They're going to let us know if they're going to encumber the property with additional mortgages, HELOCs, things like that, right? We're going to indemnify the broker, perform any act to comply with FERPTA. So if you notice on that first, I should have said this on the first page, I forgot to mention, we're not using this listing for rentals anymore. Okay, FAR has a lease listing agreement. That's what you're going to use for rentals. No mention of rentals on this form anymore, not even vacant land. So we took all of that off. We also took off the question about are you a FAR national and what country do you belong to, because that's a title thing. I don't know why we were asking that on the listing. So that's gone. But we do have the statement here that they will comply with FERPTA, because that was the whole reason for that. Make all legally required disclosures, right? They still have to, material known facts, that's in there. Consult appropriate professionals. If you could scroll up, title of property, they still have to give clear title. Now we still have the HOA and the condo. The goal here was to have all inputs as far left on the document as possible. And for those of you who've never really looked at this, anything bolded with an asterisk needs an input from you. So that should be your cue of, okay, I gotta put something here. So we're gonna make selections, check only one of the following. Then we go into our hold harmless. That
Hey, before you go
uses-
there, I want to say thank you for taking all of the duplicate initials off of there.
Yes.
That's huge.
And then we go into the hold harmless. What you'll notice there, star title has been removed because we have relationships with other title companies too, right? So it's just kind of a blanket thing. But what I want you to know is the next paragraph, I'm sorry, it was affiliated businesses that we took star title out. That doesn't relieve us of the requirement for that separate affiliated business disclosure, just because I learn a lot while I'm doing this. So just so you know why we ask for that separate, even though it's here, is because that's a RESPA requirement. RESPA requires, if we have a relationship with a company, that we state that relationship, but on top of that, give estimates. So because we can't fit all that here, and RESPA also requires it separate. So we're just mentioning it here, but we can't get that requirement for that separate form away. So I'm just explaining that to you guys. Now we have, this page is all compensation. Compensation is all on this page. We're starting out with the same as it used to be, right? 12 A, B, and C, same choices. The seller is either paying you the full commission and you're sharing it, or they're gonna pay it from their side of it, or they're saying they're not gonna offer any of it. So you still have these options, 12 A, B, and C. All right? D is just explaining when our broker's fees are due. Now, this explains the protection period, the termination, and it does talk about leasing and options and things like that. The only reason that's brought up here is if in the process of listing, your seller decides, oh, you know, I probably want to lease it. That's why we have it here. In the event they do decide that, you're capturing what you would be paid for it, but we'd still do a separate agreement for that. So that's broker's fees due. And then we have your seller coordinator, additional charges for settlement services, right? I want to keep that in when we're talking about you're paying me compensation, and on top of that, here's the fee. We want to keep everything kind of in a flow and in some kind of order. So if that's left blank, it's going to default to 0. Okay, we're putting a lot of defaults in here because I'm tired of compliance kicking things back for you and the answer is 0. Fine, if it's 0, let's just default to it. We don't have to worry about that. And now we have a notice to seller regarding buyer brokers. Whole paragraph explaining to sellers that they may or may not decide to pay a buyer broker. This paragraph is hugely important because here we go, 14A, buyer's broker may include this broker if broker also works with the buyer. Okay? B says if broker acts as buyer's broker during the duration of this agreement, broker will be entitled to the compensation in paragraph 12, as well as the buyer broker paragraph 15. So here we're spelling it out for the seller. If we bring the buyer, we're entitled to both compensation, because that's always a question agents are calling. Well, if I bring the buyer, you know, how does the seller know what he's paying me? It's spelled out now, totally transparent. You get that commission unless you make it somewhere else in this agreement that you don't. All right, so that's an important paragraph that we added.
Michelle, can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
So going back to that, you said that it's going to be spelled out. So whenever I was doing that EBVA, it's always going to be 3%. I'm going to put that on there for me personally. But then I would always have the conversation with my sellers that if I was to bring the buyer and represent both sides, then I would reduce their commission by 0.5% or something like that. How would that be reflected?
I'll show you that.
Got it, okay.
All right, so then we still have agency status and commission, right? We're still, how we represent has no bearing on how we're getting paid. The wire, oral, electrical communication still there, same thing. Now we're defining 18 and 19, conditional and unconditional termination, because that's how it is on the modification to the listing, right? We always have one or the other. So we're defining both. Now, the thing you need to see in here is 149, pays a cancel, well, before that, if broker agrees to conditional termination, if broker agrees, understand that the seller may ask and it's not their choice. okay? It's our choice as the brokerage, how we're releasing the customer, conditionally or unconditionally. This is in your court, not your seller's court. Now, do you have to weigh bad reviews and things like that with how you're gonna release them? Yes, but we're giving you the authority to do that. Line 40, and then it says, line 148, must sign a modification to this agreement if they ask, right? Let's start at the beginning, I'm sorry, 146. At seller's request, broker may. Okay, broker may, in its sole and absolute discretion, agree to conditionally terminate this agreement. If broker agrees to conditional termination, seller must sign a modification to this agreement, reimburse broker for all direct expenses incurred in marketing the property. So you're gonna get your money back for marketing the property. In addition to that, you can ask for a cancellation fee of whatever you want. If it's left blank, it's gonna be $250. Two things about this. Your marketing fees are not subject to split. All you do is give them receipts. This is what I paid for photography. They reimburse you, write the check to you. We don't see that. The cancellation fee would have to be written out to Keller Williams Tampa Properties. That is subject to split. All right? Now, the next paragraph is the same thing, but for unconditional release. So then agents are asking, well, why would I choose one or the other? Let's just, in practice, if it was my team, and I give a conditional release, what that is saying to my seller is, hey, we have a 6-month listing agreement. You were asking me in month 3 to stop marketing it. Unconditional, or conditional, sorry, I'm getting my words, conditional release is usually used for a situation where the seller has nothing against you, they love you and think you're wonderful, they have just decided this is probably not the greatest time, I want to take my house off the market, but I have no intention of listing with another agent. Great, I'll release you conditionally. I won't even charge a cancellation fee for a conditional release, right? In my practice, we're going to put 0 there. If you let me release you conditionally, that means you're not going to list with another agent until the end of our listing agreement. So we're going to stop marketing at month 3, but we're still under contract for the remainder of our listing agreement. That's conditional release, okay? If they agree to that, in my world, I won't charge a cancellation fee. But if they want me to release them unconditionally, meaning the day after they can list with another agent, well, maybe I'm going to charge a $1,000 fee for that. Maybe I'm going to charge a $500 fee for that. But it's your call now. You make those decisions. We're putting that in your court to charge what you want, whether it's 0 or not. There you go. So that's kind of the difference between those two. Then we have dispute resolution, right? We don't do arbitration, so that language is gone. Miscellaneous, this has been added in. This now goes to heirs. Okay, the FAR listing agreement always did, ours did not. And we recently had an issue where sellers died. What happens to a listing now? We didn't know. We ran it through our attorneys, and she was like, kind of void, right? You have no more sellers. They don't exist. So we added this paragraph just saying that the agreement goes to heirs. Right, so now if that happens, we're still the listing agent waiting for it to go through probate or whatever. So that's there. Additional terms, Mike, this is where you would put it. If the listing agent procures the buyer, we'll reduce the commission to whatever percentage. You can make it clear there. If you need more information, this is also where you would put if nosy neighbor Joe comes and the seller doesn't want to pay you compensation, my recommendation, if nosy neighbor Joe comes to purchase the property by this date, then no commission would be due, right? We could put that somewhere like that. Don't leave the date out there. Like, don't let nosy neighbor Joe take 6 months to make a decision. Right? That's great to go. And then we all acknowledge that this is an agreement and everybody signs. The other thing we added, which I forgot to mention, is if you're listing a condo and that condo has first right of refusal, this listing agreement now covers that you would be considered procuring cause and you will still be entitled to compensation. Okay? That used to be in the old condo rider. It said it in the old condo rider, but with all of this take compensation out, the new iteration of it took that provision out. So after following some attorneys, they recommended to add it into your listing agreement, so that's what we're doing. Yes.
My question is with relationship to the death of the owner. So, let's say I'm a listing agent, seller's listing agent, seller dies, and then obviously it goes to court, then there are some
Heirs.
errors, and then it can take forever. So, let's assume the property doesn't have an owner for the period of time. Does the listing go on hold?
No, because there's still an expiration date. And the heirs can decide to cancel it. This is just saying that at the death, it doesn't just go dead. It's gonna go on to an heir. So more like you have the parents listed, now they pass unexpectedly, and now the kids are the rightful heirs, and they're like, yeah, we want to still sell it. Okay, well, we still have an active listing.
Well, that would be assuming that everything goes smoothly.
That's correct. I mean, everything is gonna be case by case, but
Okay.
this is just now clear that it passes on.
Okay, so what is passes on to somebody, let's say within a month, they can cancel, they can relist, they can do whatever, and we need a new agreement, or not?
Well, if they cancel, you wouldn't need a new agreement because they're canceling it.
Okay, and if it goes, so it has to go under their name, so that would be a new agreement.
Modification to listing.
And so does the date restart?
No.
No, so
Unless,
it goes,
unless you extend it.
okay,
It's your choice. This is just saying it doesn't just die anymore.
okay.
Just
Okay.
because the person did.
Yeah.
Right.
Because contracts are that way, right? The contract goes on to heirs. The FAR listing agreement went on to heirs. Ours didn't. So we're just bringing it up to,
Thank you.
up to code, up to speed, up to whatever.
And I appreciate you.
Any other questions about the new listing agreement? I hope you guys like it. We worked really hard on this. And so again, if you have any feedback, we're not doing anything for at least a year. But if I do get some feedback about certain things in the listing that's not working, maybe as you're explaining it to your people, you're having issues overcoming something, let me know and we'll work through it.
Is the other, the old, sorry, is the
No, it's
old
not
list?
available.
It's, okay, it's already been updated.
All gone.
Great.
All gone. Just
Shall
this
we
one.
update current ones?
No, if you, I
If they've
mean,
been on the market for a while.
this will be, as of 1 February, they're not gonna accept any more listings on the old form that haven't been executed before that. If you have an executed one, you're good, we don't need you to redo it, but starting February 1st, this is the form we want. So if you have any saved on your desktop, templates, things like that, update it. All right, the next form. The next one we went over is the buyer's disclosure. So the first thing you're gonna notice is that every paragraph now requires buyer's initials.
No, you didn't get away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's multiple reasons for that, because each one of these paragraphs could almost be another form required at compliance, and I'm trying not to do that to us, right? So I feel that signing the bottom of each page, or even signing the end of a page in DocuSign is not enough for a buyer to stop and think about what they're initialing. I want them to have to pause, look at it, and go, do I really have this? Right, so the first is the same, professional inspector, that hasn't changed, the hold harmless hasn't changed. Home warranty, that's a requirement, I didn't know this is statutory requirement to at least offer it, so that's why that's there. You have your closing coordinator fee, again, if it's left blank, it's going to 0. We're not playing this kickback game with compliance all the time.
Michelle? Sorry.
Yeah.
You just said which one is statutory?
The home warranty. Offering a buyer a home warranty is required.
Some listing agents and brokerages require a form.
Yeah.
Because it's a
Signed,
statute,
so it
right?
makes sense.
Who knew?
Right.
That's why it's in there. I mean, this is me. I'm like, why do we ask for this? Why is this here?
Yeah.
Thanks for telling us all this, like, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, we know we have to do it, we don't have to, like, understand all the whys, but it is nice
Sometimes
to get us
it's,
on board.
why do we have
Understand.
this? This is why. All right. Your closing coordinator fee, again, it's gonna default to 0. Affiliated business disclosure, just like I said, we removed our title's name. Now it's just kind of, we could be affiliated with a bunch of places. Florida Business Energy Efficiency Rating Act. Okay, this is your energy efficiency brochure.
Nice.
Right? The buyer's saying they got it. At this point, they should stop and go, hey, agent, I don't got it. Right? And if you're doing paperwork with your buyer, like I feel like you should, that's your cue to be like, and here it is, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? So we want them to initial that. Insurance rate.
Michelle, hold on. You know what, it's funny because that has come off of the checklist. So I actually, in the last, I know current buyer, I'm not sure about previous, I haven't given it to them because oh, it's not on the checklist, it's not required.
And this is my argument. Can we trust agents
No.
to do what they're supposed to do without me requiring it to be signed and proved to
No.
me that you did it?
Right. Okay.
This is the first step, right? Because that's when lawsuits happen. Did your agent give this to you? Grown person, you signed saying you got it. And if that grown person says, yes, but my agent sent this form to me along with the contract and 7 other things to sign, that's where we have issues. So will that requirement come back to show that you gave it? It might. I have to see how this goes, right? But that's where it is. Insurance rates, again, we have crazy rates. We want them to understand that it's their due diligence to be looking up the rates and checking all this. They have the responsibility to check with insurance companies. And remember, guys, these insurance rates, it's not mandatory that they get the discounted rate, right? If they want discounted insurance, then they want certain repairs made, but the point is, if you want that protection in a contract for your client, you have to add an addendum for that. This is just free information that I'm spewing out here about contracts. But anyway, I want them to understand there's insurance rates and we're crazy here in Florida. Sex offender, that hasn't changed. They're going to initial that. School board disclosure has not changed. Property tax information. Because of the lawsuit happening with D.R. Horton, we're beefing this up because I want them to understand that their property taxes may go up, right? It's not our responsibility to be telling them all of that, but we're going to do it. And I want them to initial that they acknowledge being told. All right, because if D.R. Horton's getting sued, it's only a matter of time before resales start happening. So we just want to make sure that they understand that their property taxes may go up, and we're going to have them initial there. Paragraph 11 is brand new, permits. Okay, this is telling the buyers up front, if this is important to you, you have to do your due diligence. I'm involved in like 3 different cases right now because of permits and buyers thinking that it's the agent's responsibility to search them and look for them and give them the information. And it's not. It's their responsibility during due diligence period. So we put that paragraph in them for them to start acknowledging that. And then this is supposed to be making everybody happy. Estimated repair costs is a lender responsibility, right, to give them their estimates. What we were getting in compliance is a net sheet with a bunch of zeros or a bunch of to be determines. That's not helping anybody, right? So they're going to initial here that says they can get an estimate from their lender, and that's the best place for them to get an estimate. Does that mean I don't want you to do net sheets anymore? No, if that's your normal practice, do net sheets. But what I'm saying is it's not required anymore. Compliance is not going to require net sheets on the buyer's side as long as we're using this disclosure. If you use the old disclosure, they're still going to ask for a net sheet. Once you start using this one, the net sheet won't be required. That doesn't mean you can't keep doing them. It just means the whole purpose of it was not meeting the purpose when you guys were refusing to do them. And providing a lender's worksheet is not a source document, right? It's their document, so why were we requiring them to sign that? They can get an estimate from the lender, we're putting them on notice that that's where they get it, and you can still do them in your practice, okay? And then that's it, then everybody signs and goes. The next form we're gonna have, I don't have anything up here, but just so you know, the next one is the affiliated business disclosure. We have updated that. We won't be releasing it yet because Star Title is rebranding, and the new name and that organization hasn't been released yet. So I'm not going to release it, but the new form, just so you know, this is a big one. You don't have to put an estimate for title insurance on the new affiliated business disclosure. It is going to have all the estimates there for you already pre-printed. All you have to do is have your buyer sign it. So that's going to be the big change for that form, and that should come out sometime in February. And we're also updating commercial forms. So, any questions about the forms? What's going on?
Thank you.
No? Yes, thank you.
Huge thank you.
Maria.
All right, so we're gonna get started now, and yes, looking at creating buyer urgency in quarter 1. If I could have my models up here for today. Maria, Mike, Yael, thank you for agreeing to come on up. And we're gonna talk about buyers. While they're coming up, I just wanna say that, I don't know if anyone follows Housing Wire or listens to podcasts with like Logan Matasami or anyone else, but just kind of looking at some things that came through when I was looking at it the other day. They're basically saying that demand is off to a strong start for 2026, okay? So and again, it's his opinion, but when it comes to the mortgage world, he's a whole lot smarter than I am. So I'm gonna listen to what he's saying and at least keep it in the back of my gray matter. But basically, he's saying that if things kind of continue the way that they are, then we should be in for a pretty significant 2026. Now, can that change? Sure. Anything we listen to is somebody's opinion, right? So it's a matter of you choosing whose opinions you want to listen to. To me, this is a valid source. So, as you may know, maybe you do, maybe you don't, rates are still hovering, in that 6 range. In fact, Richard's here, so we're going to ask him real quick. But if you don't know Richard yet, Richard is our loan officer with Top Light. He's here in the building. Please feel free to go see him, schedule an appointment with him. But where are we right now as far as rates?
We're about 6 1/8, 6 1/4. We've been hovering around there probably for past month.
Okay.
I think the only thing causing it to fluctuate right now are geopolitical issues. So the Housing Wire guy's right. Yeah. As long as things remain the same and nothing happens, I mean, we should actually have a really good year. I mean, I personally think we're going to fall around 5.7, 5.5 by the end of the year.
Yeah, that's all right. Noted. That's what he says. We'll see how that works out. Thank you. I appreciate that. I know we actually, I think about a week ago, we actually dropped into the 5s, high 5s for a very short period of time, and then bounced right back into.
It's like a day we hit like 5.99.
Yeah. Man, I hope some buyers came out then, but I think that's what's really going to do it. Becky and I were talking this morning, and really, I think that's the draw. And if we can stay low, I think we're going to continue to see it. But if we can get an interest rate with a 5 in front of it, I think that's when we really start seeing the buyers come out, for sure. So, awesome. Our inventory is strong, right? We've got a healthy inventory, so I think by having that, even when and if this does come to fruition, I think having that healthy inventory is going to keep prices in check too. We're not going to see the craziness like we saw going back a few years. So just kind of keep those things in mind. I think we're off to a good start this year. I've already heard a lot of positivity from some of our agents that are starting the year strong with a bunch of closings and listings taken. So good on you there. Good. So we're just going to start, and there's going to be an opportunity for you guys to ask some questions. I'm going to try and kind of pick up the pace a little bit just because we're kind of limited. And I want to make sure you have an opportunity to ask questions as well. But I'm going to go ahead and ask our panelists some questions because they've been doing this for a while. And no slouches up here. These are amazing agents. So yes, good posture. Good. So let's just start quickly, right? Just let's set the tone. Quick answer. What's the biggest mistake that you think agents make with buyers today? Anyone?
Undercommunicate.
Okay, lack of communication.
Yeah, lack of communication. I think most agents, they don't give all the information, talk as much as possible, like getting all the resource. And then I also think, I have a piece of paper. Hold on, go ahead.
I'll defer. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
anyone else?
I'll wrap up.
Jump in. Anything?
Biggest mistake.
Biggest mistake.
With buyers.
I think you're right, it's just misinformation. We don't give enough information to buyers, which wouldn't happen to you.
That's a good thing. That's why you had 23 buyers last year.
Yeah, so that's a good to me, because it gives them something that none of the other realtors can do. And they tell me, and when I consult them and they see that they show up for the first time, and they ask them, like, have you talked to any other realtors so far? And they say, like, no, yeah, no, but please do. You will have to do clinical consultation, talk to the individual, and they do. And they do, yeah, you should do. Yeah, this is why I like tax year in 2025, which is my second year in real estate, and actually my third year in the country. So when I closed like 37 homes, I was
Bravo, Maria.
Yeah, right? Yeah, for sure.
For me, the biggest mistake is not spending enough time on the front end, asking the right questions or asking enough questions so that you're you're not getting frustrated and they're not getting frustrated looking for something that may not exist.
And I was kind of, figured this would resurface, and it may, later in questions with how do you, and I think that you're all kind of alluding to that right now as far as setting it up from the beginning, right? Set those clear expectations, let them know everything up front so that there's no questions. Right? Cool, let's dive in then. Mike.
Yes.
Tell me, you've been doing this a little bit. Why do you think it's more difficult working with buyers today than maybe it was, say, 2-3 years ago?
And I will say that I think it's easier working with buyers in the market that we're in now
Why is that?
than it was 2 or 3 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago, remember, we were in, house came on the market at noon, you could have your offer in by 1:15, appraisal appraisal gap coverage, waiving, so buyers were doing anything to get a house that they didn't even really like that much. I think now it's easier because buyers do have the benefit of more choice and more time to breathe and make some good decisions for their family.
Very good.
I totally disagree.
Do you? Well, I love that. Do tell, Yael.
Because a lot of the buyers are getting misinformation. Well, part of it I agree. The other part is the misinformation that people are getting because they think they know everything that they get from AI or from social media, and they're misinformed and they come to you thinking that they know everything and having to train them properly. I understand, like, yes, they were buying stuff that they may have not wanted, but I think that a lot of the clients that come to me are really misinformed about the market, the interest rates, where should you buy, what's happening. So I have the complete opposite of that.
Sure. I don't know if it's complete, it's just a different sector, right? So to Mike's point, COVID was crazy, right? It was a crazy time in those years. But to your point, technology has advanced and people have more access to information, whether it's accurate or not. So
Yes.
that's fair. Do you want to add anything?
My point is just, I know other things. Yeah, because again, that was the first, well, actually 2 years ago, the first year, I don't know, I have no better proof.
Great, you didn't pick up any bad habits. Exactly. All right. So when we talk about our buyer consultation, our initial buyer consultation, and really trying to maintain control of those conversations, I mean, what's a good objective we get? What do you say to a buyer when they say, yeah, we're not really interested right now, we're just kind of looking? Anyone got that?
I mean, if you categorize like they teach you in A, B, and C buyers. So if they are we're just looking right now, great. I had a client that closed last month that was just looking, but we found the one early, so her April purchase happened at the end of December.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think don't ever, unless they are spinning your wheels and a huge time suck, go on that ride.
Okay. So not just, oh, we're just looking, okay, feel free, stay with them. Okay.
And again, asking questions, what will it take to shift from just looking to, I want to make it all?
Got it. So you're just looking, how are you going to know when you find that right property? What does that look like? What does that feel like for you? Okay. We're going to move on. So going back to that, Mike, what might be a question that you would ask early to determine how serious a buyer might be? Anyone, I'm sorry.
I normally ask whether they have that's the name, whether they're serious or not. If it's like, oh, we're not all that well, that's because we have to do that. So I think it's all true now, but we're not moving forward, because we have no idea where they stand at this point.
Yep. We don't know if they can buy. We don't really know their price range either. I mean, that might be inflated or the other way, for them. So good point. Struck something. I'll come back. So, you were talking about for sale by owner, and I was mentioning, people that don't see value in realtors. So how do you overcome that objective for a buyer that simply thinks that realtors are simply, we're door openers? We are just door openers. Is that what we are?
you know?
All right, then how do you respond to that?
I usually say, like, working with the wire station is a must. Yeah.
Why is that?
Why is that? Because I can fight for you. I can close
Maria,
a
can you
better-
speak up a little bit?
I can close a better deal for you. I can close a deal that no one can, like, you don't do it yourself. And especially going to a, let's say, seller to the listing agent, you know, without having a representation with the buyer's agent. You gotta know, you know, that the listing agent is not your agent, is not your agent, and that agent is not working for you, he's working for their client, which is the seller, and they're not gonna fight for you. I will do my best, and I usually show, my recent closings, you know, what the asking price was, you know, what the terms, we agreed on, you know, where we ended up, where we ended up, and how everything went, and the challenges we had. Yeah, I sold them because every transaction has its own bumps. Bumps and everything, and I'm the only one who can help with it.
Love that. Yeah, I tell people that you're gonna have a story for everything, right? People love stories, so if you can share stories from previous clients, especially recent clients, goes a long way. And it might not be all sunshine and roses. There might be hiccups along the way, and that's okay. But guess what? We overcame those obstacles. What do you say something?
No, I was gonna agree with that, is that the seller, the agent who has the listing is looking out for the best interest of the seller, not the buyer. So people think that they're gonna get a good deal, not having to work with somebody representing them, not realizing that the good deal may in fact be that, it's possible.
And I would say like the same thing works for the seller as well. You know, because sometimes the seller decides to go with people, you know, sell by their own. And when I talk to those people and I tell them, like, I'm the only one who can get you the most money. And this is why, let me give you the numbers. Because if you have these transactions last year, where we listed, you know, this point, and we ended up almost the same level, you know. Even though we got the only one offering that was like too low, like almost 35 too low, but we ended up almost at the asking price. Why? Because they had limited it. And I had a consultation like 2 weeks ago with a potential seller, and he said that was the question he said, like, what sets you apart, you know, from other agents? Like, what tools do you have? What are like the most tools you have that makes you different from others? And I say the tools I have, this is my hat, give me something.
Like
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people say like, oh, you know, like this season, they say, okay, we'll go, let's say like new agents, let's say, we'll go with Keller Williams because there's still area jobs and we should be this much secondary sales. And I say like, all the work very amazing, but, you know, like, it could be working hard. You know, learning,
still comes down to the agent.
process, you know, and all that. So it's all on you.
And I think anytime you can share data and numbers, that's great. I mean, you've got so much emotion already in residential real estate, so if you can eliminate any of that by sharing data, it just is what it is. Numbers don't have feelings, and people can argue with that, right?
Yeah, excuse me. What I was gonna say is just, you'll continue to come from contribution and drop little Easter eggs when they can. So they may have asked you about a specific neighborhood or a specific house, and then you just follow up, you know, and say, hey, by the way, here's some information. Or, hey, I know that community, I know their HOAs are low, however, their CBDs, you know, happen to be this. Oh, you don't know where the CBD is here. So you help them self-explore what they don't know about the process before you say, here's this EBBA I need you to sign.
Yeah, that helps. When I know the EBB has always been around, personally, I didn't use that much. I didn't like it, you know, and it is a factor that protects you. But even now, if I have to pick something that I still don't like about the process, is I'm about building relationships, right? And with the EBBA, we're going right in. We're talking about money, we're talking about obligations and things like that. So when you can provide a value and already start kind of, you know, sharing your value and what you're going to do for them and how you're going to get to the house with this and that, that's going to help you, for sure. I know we talked about rates, and I think this has been big for a while as far as an objection, especially when we were coming out of 2% and 3% interest rates going back a few years. You know, people are waiting for those, and if they continue to wait, it's going to be a while. So when we have the objection of, oh, the interest rates are just too high, where do we go with that? How do we handle that without sounding defensive or really like salesy, like car sales? No disrespect.
I usually, the first question I ask whether they own or rent, why they're buying that, and most of them, 99% of them, they're renting. And when they say like, oh, the interest rate are high, we're waiting for 2 or 3. And I say, but anyway, now you are paying the mortgage, but the mortgage is not yours. And eventually, when your lease comes to an end, you end up with your chairs and a table, But buying a home, you always need equity, and this is your home. You can make a home, you can put up a mirror, or whatever you feel like, because this is your home. And they know how it feels to having your own home. And I tell them, like, I bought my own home in 2025. So this is a great example. I'm a real estate agent.
Do it myself.
I'm gonna do it myself. I'm not only teaching you, I'm doing the same on the same thing in my own life.
Yeah, for them, we may buy at the top of the moment, but we'll never buy at the top of the market.
For me, I think one of the things for buyers, when they say that the rate is too high, I remind them, my parents, when they bought their home in the 80s, they bought it for 18%. So for them, anything is considered low. And you have to buy when it's good for you, not trying to time the market. When the timing is right for you, is the right time. And if you're spending $4,000 a month for rent, and you can own for $4,000 a month, there's value in owning versus renting. That you're not paying somebody else's mortgage, you're paying your own.
And their interest.
And while they're waiting for rates to go down, wouldn't it be nice if you could, maybe it takes 12 months, 16 months, 18 months for rates to come down. But at that same time, if you buy now, you're at the end of that 12, 16, 18 months, you built equity in a home as opposed to paying somebody else's home.
I'm sorry, Richard. Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, so one thing, those are all good. One thing I also like to add too, because I have these customers that have the same issues. I use a tool called blended rate, and what it is like, some people are homeowners, they have 2.5%, 3% mortgages. They want to buy a home, they don't want to have a 6% mortgage, but they have $50,000 in credit card debt. So they're paying $3,000, $3,500 a month in credit. So they can take a portion of all the equity that they have in their current home, they can use a down payment, they can pay off all that credit card debt, save the $3,000, and they still have money left over in the bank after everything's done.
That's cool.
Yeah.
See, again, things I don't know. That's why we talk about it. So, right on. And here's another thing, Mike, I know we're talking about, COVID times, but think about COVID when we were having the 2 and 3% interest rates. Tell me about the home prices.
Yeah, you were willing and happy to pay more than the home was worth for something that you knew going in that you were having to do repairs on need.
So we
felt blessed.
Exactly. We had low inventory, we had ridiculously low interest rates, but the prices were through the roof, or they ended up through the roof if you wanted to actually obtain that property. So it's not a secret, and this is what I've always shared with buyers, is that, for those people that are waiting for that interest rate to drop, as soon as the interest rates drop, we start getting more competition and more buyers into the marketplace, what do you think is going to happen with those price points? You can't have it all. I wish we could. And then Dinah, I know you spoke last Thursday, so if somebody is that hell-bent on an interest rate, I'm not paying over 6%. Is there an alternative there?
It depends on their credit. And you can get closing costs over by new construction.
Okay.
And cooking is probably better, but they have to, again, tell them about taxes.
Sure.
They have to, kind of manage their expectations and things like that, and have a full consult with them.
Yes. And so if you weren't here last Thursday, Dinah went over new home construction, and she's a wealth of knowledge there. So if you need anything, definitely reach out to her. But that's where I was going with that, is many of these buyers are going to offer fall down interest rates, whether it's just a one-time, 3.99, or whether they're doing a 2 or 3.1 buy down. So there's lots of different opportunities that if that person is just that set, they're not paying over 6%.
But resellers you can do too, because resellers you can also do the same thing.
Sure, as far as buy downs and stuff, yeah.
And they love the house, and it was years ago, but that's down the street, but they wanted that house and we gave them seller credit so that they would pay down the interest rate.
Nice.
But we priced it accordingly, knowing that was gonna happen.
And I know Becky was just saying that she has a client doing the same thing,
Mm.
buying it down, 1 and they're getting that 575. So,
Mm.
yeah. And I'm sure Richard can help and kind of talk about those things as well if you want to go see him. Moving right along, we're running out of time here. So we talk about offers and negotiation. So working with buyers today, what are your thoughts on, tell me about a strong offer. What does that look like? How do we make an offer, quote, strong?
I think it depends what's important to the seller. Is it the dollar amount, is the time that when they have to sell the property, is the 30 days may not be what they want, they may want 60 days or 45 days. Whether they want to do repairs or not, the type of loan, how much money they're putting down. So really what's important to the seller, because what may be important to the buyer may be different, and we can't assume what the seller wants.
See, we disagree.
Yeah, I think you can't overstate the value of building rapport with the listing agent ahead of time, asking the questions, because to Yael's point, we assume, we can do a 30-day close, that's gonna send the sellers into a tizzy, so finding out what's important to them, and then the value of being an agent that other agent would want to work with. So how do you present the offer? And I got the first template I ever got from how to present an offer was from my friend Jennifer Carpano. Hey. So she presents offers that said, hey, here are the key terms, here are the attachments, blah, blah, blah. No, is Jennifer then an agent that other agent probably wants to work with and could tell their sellers that if you want to know what the day looks like, look at the morning, and I'm dealing with an agent that knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
All that I totally agree with. Knowing what your buyer is potentially could do to sweeten the deal.
Capable or willing.
Exactly. And then I have a rule that if my buyer wants to write an offer on a house, I call the listing agent before I leave the driveway or before I pull away. Because then I'm going to get distracted, something else is going to happen. So I try to initiate a phone call with the listing agent to find out what's important, time. And I just closed a deal this week where my buyers, I knew everything about them, that they weren't actually going to move into the house until February.
Okay.
But they wanted this house. The sellers had already gone under contract on a new house, but had to have the funds from this house to close it. So we let them do a post-occupancy with a lease. We had all the protections in place, but I just put a lockbox on that house, met the seller, and he's like, thank you so much to your buyers for allowing us to stay in this house for another week and a half, because I've got to go over and get work done to the new house. And it was just this culmination of everybody being happy, the listing agent, the buyers, the sellers. So that's kind of where the magic happens. And maybe your buyer is just the perfect buyer for that listing. But you got to have the communication with the listing agent to figure it all out.
Exactly. Thanks. Couple more questions and I'll open it up, and then we'll wrap. Definitely back in COVID, but it's going to happen now too. Marina, maybe you have a situation. Have you had buyers that, maybe you just can't come to terms with the seller, or potentially there's multiple offers on a particular property and you don't ultimately win? Have you ever had that? You get everything? You're awesome.
Oh, wow.
So, Mike?
No, I've had, we put in a really, really strong offer.
Yep.
Good rapport, and the seller chose something else.
Okay.
You both are really lucky.
Yeah.
It happens, and then you just have to explain to them, if you're disappointed buyers,
That is actually, in fact, my question is, how do you kind of talk them off the ledge? How do you, release that disappointment when that does happen?
For me, it's letting them know you did everything right.
Okay.
And if there is somebody else that, wants to maybe overpay for the property, or, for whatever reason, it just didn't make, but just know that you played this right.
Yes.
And there are other times too, when I've explained to them, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yep.
You didn't get it in this, and help them understand in a nice way why.
Gail, how about it?
I always tell them, if you're willing to lose the property, by $1,000.
Oh, sure.
If there's another offer coming in, are you going to lose it? And it's a difference of, I don't know, you could tell me $7 a month.
14 cents.
Whatever the payment is, are you going to lose the property? And when you put it like that, they're like, oh, well, that's like not even a roll of sushi. Sure, no problem. I'm willing to pay more. You know, like can't calculate it. So I always make sure that if this is your best offer and you lose out on it, are we priced too high, or what do we need to do differently to get the right home? And that's for them to decide.
One last question for me is, if you could give the agents one habit that everybody should start doing working with a buyer today, immediately, what would that be?
For me, it's ask questions. And continue to ask questions and revisit the answer to their questions, because things tend to change. And the other thing is, zero in on who the real decision makers are in the process.
Oh, yeah, that's big. Anything else?
I would just say, keep learning, keep educating yourself, because buyers can ask so many questions that they're so good, and so many good questions. And if you leave them the most answers, of course, you cannot answer probably all of them.
Sure.
But if you answer later and if you listen to them, you become,
Yeah. So something I've heard kind of through all of this, in any of the statements that you've given, and it sounds like a lot of it really is coming back to communication, which is kind of where we started in the first place, right?
The broker input would be a better buyer consultation.
Yeah.
Win the morning, win the day, set them up for success.
All about how you present it up front. And buyer consultations are so important. We do it with listings naturally. And many of us are getting comfortable doing it this way. If you've been with Keller Williams for a while, it might be the only way. Probably it's the only way Maria has ever learned. Buyer consultations. But there's so many of agents out there that are still showing properties when they shouldn't be and just throwing in an EDBA and all this stuff at contract, and then the buyer is very disappointed because they were never explained the process, they didn't have a sit down with you, they didn't even know what the EDBA said, now they're under contract for 6 months, they didn't want, so much can be alleviated if you just have a proper buyer consultation. Sounds like all three of you are doing it.
It'll eliminate a lot of headaches moving.
For me, the power of the phrase, here's what's going to happen next. That's,
Yeah.
And because they know what's going on. And if you have buyers that have been looking for the right one, not the quick one, check in with them. Because you have the easy button, they're on an MLS search and all that stuff, but every now and then just say, hey Richard, did you see that one that just showed up? I know that you're looking for a fourth, a fifth, whatever the case is, but check in with them and let them know. You can see if you're an MLS, if they're looking at their stuff too.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions from the audience?
No, I said, thanks, guys.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. All right.
I put on our Facebook group, this we got from Matt Receiving at Ignite. It was a buyer broker agreement, objections and handling. Pretty good document. It's in our Facebook group.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Mike. Thank you, three of you. Appreciate it. Lunch is brought to you today by
The letter J.